We're just gonna roll with it. This is how you know
Seamless.
we're all live. We don't know how to do post-processing, so we're just rolling with it. But welcome everybody to Flow and Rally. We are your hosts and co-founders, Gordon and Will. Welcome. Happy Friday or Monday or whatever day you are watching this episode number 2. We've gotten a lot of feedback, and I realize the music is still going, so I will turn it off again. We're just going for it. No post-processing. We've gotten a lot of great feedback. Thank you, everyone, for the feedback. And it sounds like people do enjoy it, find it useful, and enjoy listening to Will and I talk about whatever we feel like for a half hour. So we're going to do it. We're going to do round 2 here, and hopefully we continue. So welcome. We're just going to jump right in. Oh, Will, would you like to say something?
Happy to be here.
Oh, nice.
Excited for episode 2.
Your mouth was about to move there. Here we go. Going right in. We're going to start with one of my absolute favorite topics, which is Pic Creator. It's another AI art application. I have the product hunt page up here right now because the actual website of Pic Creator is down. Let's see if I refresh. Yep, still down. Classic. So instead of showing you that, I decided I'm going to show you a different app that I downloaded on my phone. And last night we were playing with it while we were out, and it was very fun. I'm going to show you a couple excellent images that we came up with. First was for Richard, one of our product managers. I wanted to make a hipster Gen Z with glasses foraging for mushrooms. And this is what, I blew it. That's right. This is what I came up with for that. So I think that's pretty spot on. Also love how every time we tried a Gen Z line, it always came up with like a child.
Yeah.
Love that.
Maybe a similar age, but yeah.
Who knows?
Very hipster.
Very hipster. Great.
Good looking mushrooms.
Love it. And then for Michael, one of our data scientists, he just got back from Mexico, and he got certified in scuba diving, and he painted his fingernails crazy colors. So I said sloth diving in Mexico with fingernails painted, and it came up with this absolutely amazing picture, which is just so creepy, but I absolutely love it.
So good. It's magical. How did it know?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many applications that are coming out. Like every single day I see new ones coming out, and it's pretty amazing, and each one kind of has their own little bit. I think Pic Creator is I think a lot of the applications are for being able to create like avatars or things for websites, which is very cool.
Yeah, I think with that as well, we will see it converge probably into 1 or 2 projects that are actually valuable. And so they'll have some really cool pieces. A lot of it's very gimmicky right now. I did see this week OpenAI launched kind of an update to their AI DALL-E, where you start off with your original picture and then you can give additional prompts and expand the image. So it's like learning off the image that you have. It's expanding outside of that image. So make, really big, unique images as well. I think where it's going to be really cool is when it starts transferring over to video. And so you start getting AI video. I think that's where it's really going to be an exciting technology.
Exciting and insanely scary. You never know what you can get. Also, I don't have the article up, but Stable Diffusion, which is the DALL-E 2 alternative of basically the underlying model that's creating these crazy images. There was an article that came out I saw it on Hacker News, and there's one line in the open source repo that if you comment it out, it takes out all the filters. So there is a way, or there is a line to make sure that people aren't using this in very like not suitable for work ways. And there's an article is just comment this one line out and it's gone. So not safe, but we'll see what comes out of that. Okay, next topic. is GoPuff. So GoPuff is pulling out of Spain. Let me pull up this article here. They're pulling out of Spain, and let me just share a little quote from the article here. The entire quick commerce category has been hit hard by post-pandemic, obviously, as in-person activity returned to urban living, and especially as economic downturn has taken a bite out of on-demand demand, encouraging shoppers to prioritize price over convenience, which that makes a huge amount of sense. I don't see this industry dying whatsoever. I'm not too concerned about it, but I think during COVID, during the pandemic, it was it was booming, and it kind of it hit a plateau there, and it's coming back down to reality, but reality is still pretty good. I think there's just a lot of investment that went in little too aggressively, and one of those is regional expansion, and so they're taming down some of their costs, and part of that is pulling out of Spain. And good for Glovo is a competitor there in Spain, and they also do quick convenience.
Yeah, I think quick commerce is kind of on the hairier end of the spectrum of on-demand delivery. Who knew that you couldn't build a business model with like absolutely no minimum? So if you ordered a toothbrush, you could get a toothbrush in 20 minutes. Of course, that's never going to be something you can do profitably. So they are spending a lot of venture dollars to do that. Yeah, we'll see where it kind of shakes out. I personally think that the platform supporting the already established convenience stores rather than dark convenience stores is a better model. Those stores are going to be in places close proximity to people, and so if someone can bridge that gap and marry them all together and build an online platform that caters, there's no reason that they couldn't be very successful. I think that a number of companies are trying similar parts of that. If you build the dark convenience store place, you do need to be in a very dense area, and I think this is probably a signal. I think GoPuff are doing really well in certain cities, and I think huge regional expansion is probably not in vogue right now when growth at all costs is no longer the viable means of the day. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they turn this around. They've done a number of layoffs and things like that as well, so they really are shoring up their balance sheet a bit. But it's still a great business and great operators. So we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Next topic. I actually don't have a little guy on the bottom because it came in last minute. This one Will just threw in here last minute, but it's Be Real. I'm gonna let Will kind of run through this one.
Yeah, so I have not used Be Real, but I know lots of people are really interested in it. It's the most popular social media app of the day at the moment, the biggest downloads at the moment. They are trying to do something a bit more candid, a little bit different to a lot of the over glamorized shots of Instagram and other things. And every day for about 2 minutes at a random time in the day, the app will notify you and you go and take a photo, and it's meant to be capturing you in the moment, whatever you're doing, and it shares with your followers and you see theirs back at the same time. Pretty interesting concept. Definitely like a feature. I don't know if it's like a full-blown app. That right now Be Real is the app doing that. But Zuckerberg and just the Dark Lord trying to copy everything and anything. Of course, he was going to try and do this as well. So just today, we saw news that came out a couple of days ago that IG is stealing the way it works. I don't know what they call it, but they're basically copying the Be Real feature and dropping it into Instagram. So we'll see what it does for Instagram. But yeah, very competitive in this day and age, just trying to get people's eyeballs, copying TikTok, copying anything that they can to keep eyeballs on their apps. So
Do you have to take a picture?
Yeah, you take a picture. If you
No, do you
don't,
have to?
you
Does it notify you and you have to take a picture? There's
you
consequences.
get a little time limit. I think if you don't send it, you might not get the responses back from people. I don't know.
Weird. What if you're on the toilet?
Take a picture of your feet. Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. I don't know if I like it. Actually, I kind of like it. I'm gonna try it.
Try it out.
Yeah, it's funny. Will was was bringing this up, and I was like, yeah, I guess I've heard of it. This is when I realized that Will and we're getting older. We just don't really understand what's cool these days. But I guess
The Gen Z one.
we're gonna be real. We're gonna do it. Okay, cool. I'm going to move on to Royal Caribbean and Starlink. We're kind of going off of last week. I know we brought up Starlink a little bit. What was announced this week is Starlink has a partnership with Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. They're installing the Starlink hardware onto all of their ships. The one thing that I put in here, it's kind of an obvious thing, right? Like it's a very great use case for it. But one of the things that kind of stuck out to me was the cost that Royal Caribbean has to pay. And I feel like I got this wrong, but I did reread it. The company has to pay, Royal Caribbean has to pay $5,000 a month. Just seems really cheap. Like it seems like for the whole, I don't know. That didn't really say. It was like $5,000.
Also, according to this picture, they obviously have huge ships and tiny ships. Is it 5K per ship?
I have no idea. I'm like so confused. What a tiny amount of money for.
I don't think that is a cruise ship on the end. No one goes on a cruise on like a little rowing boat. Where does that go? The only cruise ships I know are those huge ones that you see. That fifth one is just super weird.
Yeah, that's an interesting picture.
It's like my ferry to Marin.
Another fun fact about Starlink and Anton on our web crawling team, he told me that he signed up for. He's in Ukraine. He signed up for it a while ago. I know Elon is trying to accelerate the program over there in Ukraine right now, and he got a notification that he will be getting his Starlink hardware. So that's really exciting. So we'll have to ask him how it is once he actually gets it and give an update.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. All right. This one's a little nerdy, but that's kind of what I do.
I'll tune out.
Yeah. So this product, it didn't launch. I guess the product launch, the company's been around, called CodeC, is kind of their latest product to help development teams visualize their code base. I'm going to be really honest. I didn't totally understand what they do, but what I did want to kind of focus on is just more of the space itself. Coding is becoming very automated, and there's a lot of really awesome automation tools that are coming up. This is CodeC's website. So what's cool is it kind of shows you every time you commit new code to the database, or sorry, to the repository, it does give you like an interesting diagram about what your code is touching. I'm not going to get too into the weeds, but one thing I do want to show is not CodeC, but GitHub has autopilot, which is insane. And this is, I use it. I know a couple of people on our team use it. Tony definitely uses it. And I was going to give like a super quick demo just to show you what it's doing. So I'm going to just make up like add. Okay, actually perfect. Just add. So it kind of reads what you type here as like and you don't have to know how to code to like kind of get what's happening. Basically just making this like thing called add, and it's just basically creating the entire rest of the code, like rest of the function, rest of the logic for me. This is correct. I'll do another one that's like remove white space. Will loves how
it'll work.
And so this, again, you don't have to know how to code, but like this is literally just going to remove all the white space. Like it just kind of knows how to finish things for you, and it is insanely accurate. Some of the things that I see on here blow my mind. Like it'll be like
Google auto finish, but
it's great. It is. It's really quite
useful.
really quite amazing. So I just want to kind of showcase that it's a pretty cool advancement.
Do you think it's speeding you up? Do you think it'll make you dumber? Like the worry when people are like, well, if auto driving appears and no one's going to know how to actually drive, is this going to happen for coders?
So that's a really good question. I haven't thought about it. I do depend on it, but I obviously reread it and make sure it all makes sense.
You basically don't come out of it anyway, though, right? You just get it off Stack Overflow anyway, so it's just helping speed that process up, I think.
That's also not not a lie. Yeah, we do just copy and paste. I like to think of coders nowadays, we're just kind of like really glorified copy and pasters. Just find other people's work and just copy and paste
Now
it.
you're going to be glorified
Legos.
Google search finishing, auto finish.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Sweet.
Cool. on to Genies. Genies is here we go. Hold on, let me pull it up. It's a little NFT fashion marketplace.
Ooh.
It's valued at $1 billion right now. My main reason for bringing it up is because Justin Bieber is involved in it. He's done some collaborations. I am a big Justin Bieber fan, as most of you know. I'm obsessed. But it's a space, to be honest, I'm not super familiar with. I always said if NFTs and Web3 were hot 5 years ago, probably Woflow would probably be in that space. But 5 years ago, RPA was hot, and so we got in there, and I'm very happy with with where we went, because NFTs at the moment, crypto not doing super hot, but it's interesting. I mean, it's a huge valuation. It's doing things that I don't quite get. One of my friends, Allie, she's actually I don't know what her actual title is because it's probably so ridiculous, but she works at Roblox and she works on the fashion team. And so it's creating partnerships with fashion companies, actual fashion companies, like this fashionable hat that I'm wearing, being able to buy this in the metaverse, being able to buy like a digital copy of it. It's crazy. It's just the space I'm
It's
not in.
it's a good idea. The valuation is insane. It probably closed before the last few months, but yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot of celebrities tarnish their names, pumping some bad crypto schemes. So is Bieber going to go down as one of these,
No,
or is he
no.
actually into something more legit? Well, I think only time will tell. Interestingly, on crypto, I saw just the last couple of days, OpenSea announced their sort of results or something, and this is an NFT platform. Woflow sloths are on OpenSea, so you can buy and trade Woflow sloths on OpenSea, but their volume is down 99% from their peak, which is absolutely crushing. I think the price of everything. I think Bored Apes are the most common de facto pricing mechanism for it's kind of like the Bitcoin of NFTs, and that's down like 50%, I think, right now, their floor price. Yeah, it's beautiful sloths.
Yeah, this is if you don't know, we at our holiday party last year, we granted everybody these, or I guess we minted everybody these NFTs.
Boomer.
Fiona, shout out for making these lovely, lovely sloths. Yeah, just fantastic.
Sweet.
And actually, Will sold one for $80, but I guess that $80 is now probably worth 40, right, or less.
It's still the same amount of ETH. That's the point.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'm going to actually just skip this one. I'm going to head over to Sloth Tools, another coding thing that actually I could care less what it does, to be really honest. I'm showing you this exclusively because it's called Sloth Tools and it has a sloth icon as the logo. So don't even care what it is, but this came out this week, or it was announced this week. It's some coding stuff, kind of boring.
Looks
but
like CodePen. I think they copied CodePen style.
Yeah, it's possible. I'll be honest, I didn't even look at what it did. I was like, let's just show them because it's cool. Next. Oh, I haven't. Oh, we're still on. I still got the Genies guy over here. All right, this one is actually very important and very relevant to Woflow, and that is the GeoMart WhatsApp collaboration, the instant messenger commerce. So this is, here we go. This is a partnership between GeoMart, which is India's largest grocery chain, essentially. And actually, I pulled this up just so we can look at it. Here in the U.S., it's Safeway, Albertsons, Kroger's, all that. This is India's version of that, and they have a partnership with WhatsApp, and so you're able to shop and purchase goods right on WhatsApp, which I think a lot of people think is very much the future. I have a little quote here. Customers in India will be able to browse GeoMart's entire grocery catalog. Catalogs, we like catalogs on WhatsApp, add items to cart, and make payment without ever leaving the instant messaging service. So that is super cool. It's an all-in-one. This is a platform that people are in all the time. They're very used to it, and so being able to accomplish all of this without ever leaving that platform makes WhatsApp very valuable. And I know WhatsApp right now is definitely trying to find ways to monetize and generate more revenue, and this is a huge push into that direction.
Yeah, it's super interesting, and it's because it's Facebook as well behind the scenes in WhatsApp. It's really like the first push by an American conglomerate into what's like the super app area. So obviously in China, it's extremely big that the app platform actually becomes like kind of like the operating system. So all the apps are kind of micro apps within one app, super apps. I know Latin America is picking this up in a pretty big way as well, but we haven't really seen anything in America certainly to that idea. I think Uber's trying to be a super app. This is, WhatsApp's first attempt at trying to become a super app as well. I'm not sure if there's actually a super app in India, but I know that WhatsApp is hugely popular in India. So if you can go off the backs of that, that's kind of what they did in China off WeChat's back, and then now that's become the super app. Could be a good way in, and definitely interesting to start with grocery commerce as your first port of call. It's super interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. What could have been the super app in the US? Craigslist
It was. It's the OG super
was
app.
the super app in the US, but
Yeah. People dated off it. People
yeah,
roomed off it. Yeah.
yeah.
Everything.
I mean, that's where they say the beginnings of so many internet industries, dating apps, um,
The
anything,
decoupling,
LinkedIn.
of Craigslist. Yeah.
Yeah,
These
exactly.
billion-dollar companies.
A lot of crazy stuff. Okay, this next topic is very exciting. COVID booster shots are here. The new one. Sorry, they've always been there, but the new one, and it has, it targets the new variants, and I guess it is also it protects you a little bit more from actually getting sick, whereas now everybody knows like none of the COVID vaccines actually stop you from getting sick. They just stop you from going down a much worse path. This one apparently does help a lot more with getting sick. So I signed up this morning. I'm getting mine on the 12th. Very, very
Is it
excited.
open to everyone right now, or is
Everyone,
they rolling it out again?
anyone
Yeah.
over 12 years old, I believe.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So, and when I signed up, there's a zillion appointments. Like this is not like it was in the beginning. I remember in the beginning of COVID, me and my roommates and some friends, we'd take like a jog at 5 a.m. over to one of the vaccine sites to see if we could get, the excess. We went like every day for weeks, never got it. So this is clearly different. Times have changed.
Time to get a new one, get re-upped. Who makes it? Is it a Pfizer
I
thing?
think both Moderna and Pfizer.
Um,
And I know that because I'm saying this in a podcast, people think that everything I say is correct. Uh, I think it's Pfizer and Moderna doing it, but I could be wrong.
I mixed and matched my last boosters, so we'll have to see which one I try for this one then.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my Pfizer. Seems good. Okay, last but not least, we have Reviver, which I think we can get in a good, interesting conversation about this. So Reviver is building company one license plate at a time. What does that mean? Essentially, and this is a quote in the article, essentially, it's an electronic paper display that needs to update once per year when you pay your taxes. And that's it. That's literally the product that they're selling right now is an e-ink license plate. And
And I thought that sounds so dumb. Why would you pay the payment's like $30 a month, and you have to charge it, you have to take it off. Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, I absolutely thought the same thing. I kept reading into it, did a little research on it. They've raised $70 million from very great investors. I forget exactly who they are. I just remember they were prominent investors, and they have 65 employees, and they're essentially making what I think is like a glorified, or why not even not glorified? They're making a Kindle that you put on like the end of your car. So what's the deal? What's their vision? Why do they raise this money? What's going on? It's actually quite interesting, and I like it. I think it's an interesting vision, and I think it could actually become very successful. Mainly if you've ever been to the DMV. The point of the business is to do away with your trips to the DMV, and their start is in license plates because everything for your car revolves around your license plate, right? Getting the registration, doing all this stuff. So having it digitally delivered to your Kindle, to your like license plate Kindle thing, it's kind of a cool idea. Um, they also talk about how incredibly difficult this business is because if you even have ever walked into a DMV, the everything's paper. I mean, everything's paper. You wait 5 hours just to, to get a ticket so that you could be in line for another 5 hours. And so these are the same people that this company is dealing with. They're actually working with DMVs that are a little they're like disaggregated because this DMV in California is not the same DMV in Arizona, obviously. And so there's a lot of things that they have to push through in order to get their product working. And so it's taken them a long time just to get this license plate working on the front of the car. So it's an interesting concept. It seems on the surface very easy to replicate, but it's really about the relationships and things that they're working towards to help you never have to go to the DMV again.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because the DMV does suck. It's full of sloths. It'd be interesting. They definitely should make this kind of like a platform play and then allow Tesla to make the hardware on their cars, and then they just pay to
Ooh,
use
yeah.
the subscription. They shouldn't get into the business of trying to make hardware. That's dumb. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good
that's a
starting
good
point.
point.
It's the and it's funny whenever you see apps or companies and you think, huh, that's kind of sounds like a dumb idea, or that sounds like a tiny market. Really like try and think like what's the higher purpose here. Oftentimes companies like even us as well, right? You start out with a small niche, you target specifically a type of customer. It really is like what's that act two, what's that act three. That's what the investors are excited about. That's what the bigger picture is that a lot of these companies are ultimately going after. So sometimes when you see a Kindle that you plug onto the front of a car, you think that's a dumb idea. It actually might be something bigger behind it. You just don't know. And then it's all about execution.
It's true. He's got a point. The man's got a point. Awesome. Well, that sums it up for us for Flow and Rally this week. Thank you all so much for listening. Also, thanks everyone for the feedback, and please keep giving us feedback. I think one of the top things I've heard is we want to have guests on the show, maybe some of our
Yes,
other board
please.
members. So we're loving the ideas, and we're going to try to execute on all of them and see what we can do. We're going to keep bringing you some amazing conversations between me and Will about God knows what, and we'll just keep it happening. And also remember, this is uncut, unfiltered, no post processing, and that's mainly because we don't know how to do it in this app that we're using. And so we're just going to keep it moving, keep it real. And thanks everyone. Have a great weekend.
Till next time.
Till
Thanks,
next
everyone.
time.
Bye bye. Yeah.
Just wanted to prove that it is no post processing. I messed it up and I accidentally removed the volume, but didn't remove Will. So I'm going to remove Will first. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.